Hello, everybody. We are looking today at the Industrial Revolution Rev 3. The Industrial Revolution is a game changer in all ways. We go from making most of our goods at home to now we're going to make them in factories. We're going to make them faster. We're going to make them more efficient. But this is also going to be a very big change for people because people are going to have to go from living in the countryside to living in the city. And they're going to go from working independently on a farm to a situation in a factory where they may be beaten if they don't work fast enough. They're going to have long hours. It's going to be bad conditions at first. And so it's going to be a major change in Europe, and then it'll follow up in the United States. And now we're seeing this change happening in Africa and Asia as well. And so we're going to look at what was it like during the Industrial Revolution and what were the long-term impacts of that for people and quality of life. So here are your basic notes. You can open up your notes packet you find in the Revolution section. And here we go. So the Industrial Revolution ran from 1700 to 1900 and saw rapid industrialization, growth in cities, growth in technology. And some would argue we're having a new industrial revolution in parts of Asia and Africa right now. So what is the result of this from 17 to 1900? Well, we see a very high increased production of goods made by machines. Like I said, it used to be you made these in smaller shops or other places or in your home. Well, now they're all going to be made by machines for the most part. And so instead of making your clothes, you're buying your clothes. And instead of, you know, building your own table, maybe you're buying it, whatever it might be. This leads to what we have today, where we buy almost everything instead of making it. This was the precursor to that. So what we're seeing is industrialization, the process of using machines to produce goods. And the results, well, we're going to have more cities because people need to live near these factories. There's going to be very large factories people are working in, sometimes having hundreds or thousands of people working there. There's going to be a lot more factory work and less smaller shops creating goods. And it's going to be a big change in lifestyle. I think about my dad. He's a dairy, he was a dairy farmer, now he's a beef farmer, but he's lived on a farm all his life. For him to go from the independence that provides to moving to the city and all of a sudden working in a factory would be a major, major shift for him, to say the least. So, so it starts in England. We're going to look at England today. Why does it start there? Well, here's a few reasons. Number one, they have the needed natural resources. At first, you needed water to power your mills, and then you needed coal. And one of the big things was creating iron and creating steel and all these different metals. Well, they had those resources there. They had the mines there for all these goods. And so it makes it an easy place to start. Transportation was a lot easier for England than other areas. They have rivers that flow inland. They have some good harbors. They're on the ocean. They have the English Channel to take things to Europe. So all these waterways made it a lot easier to transport goods. They had money. That was a big one. Factories are expensive. Machines are expensive. Creating all this is expensive. But they had people who saw this as an opportunity to gain wealth. And so people invested in factories because they had wealth. And so that's why it made it available in Europe first, specifically in the United Kingdom. The United States becomes huge in the Industrial Revolution too, but we can't do it at first because we don't have the financial power. That takes time. Lastly, the government supported it. They wanted it. They saw it as a way for their country to become more wealthy. We have a large labor force. There's a lot of people in the countryside who have been losing their land. Farms have become bigger. And because of that, a lot of farmers and their children did not have work like they used to. So they needed labor, and these provided jobs. And also, there's international trade in place. Britain has a huge empire. And so they have places they can trade these goods with automatically. And so because of that, the government looks at it and says, we have the natural resources, we have a labor force, we have good transportation, people want to invest. Why don't we do this? And so Britain does. And the Industrial Revolution begins. So what do they produce? Products varied. Their largest product type would be textiles, clothing, cloth, things like that. But they were very big with metals as well and other things too. So your final thoughts. The Industrial Revolution completely changed the world. Now goods were going to be made in factories instead of homes. People will begin moving to cities to find jobs. Big businesses and factories take over the economy, and international trade and markets for manufactured goods become very important. This is kind of what we see in our modern day. We buy goods made in factories, International trade ships these goods back and forth, and people want to be a part of it because they know there's some money that can be made. So the Industrial Revolution definitely connects with your life. If you've purchased anything made in a factory, you can credit that to the Industrial Revolution. So that's what we have for now. You can move on to your assignments. I'll create another video kind of explaining how those operate. Have a great day, everybody.